Hi there, it's Viewers Called Live. Very extreme,
this morning as the volcano,
deadly Icelandic volcano eruption. Iceland, UK, 24. Titan's down there. Date's the 14th of January, Monday morning, 24.
Several homes have been destroyed. Reported casualties at the moment, but clearly it's a really worrying time.
This is the second eruption is more serious than the last one.
A black day.
Here you go.
Parker reports now.
This is dangerous, guys. This is tense, man. This is serious. Second eruption.
Scenario that's now unfolding in front of the world's eyes.
Oh boy, oh boy.
A wave of molten rock is carving its way into what was a thriving fishing town.
Oh crikey.
Grundavik's been evacuated again, but abandoned homes and businesses line the path of an overwhelming natural force. This appears the first house to fall.
Crikey.
Well, this is a bit surreal. Watch your family home just disappear. I'm still realizing what's happening.
Trucks building defensive barriers against the lava suddenly found it surging towards them.
Crikey. I better get out of there.
Fiery liquid burst out into the open on Sunday morning. Another fissure then tore up through the earth.
Sheesh. This is hot stuff, man.
The people of Grindavik have proven their composure and resilience. It is a duty that befalls us all to ensure that they can continue to show themselves and others what they are made of, that they can again make
this is brutal for Iceland.
Enjoy a sense of safety
brutal.
And allow themselves to forward to a bright future.
Aye.
We reported from Grindavik back in November before eruptions began. People had to pack up their belongings as earthquakes ripped the town apart. This is now the second eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula within a month, and follows several others in recent years. Before that, this part of Iceland hadn't seen volcanic activity for 800 years.
There was a period called the Reykjanes fires, and that's when multiple fissures opened up on the peninsula, kind of sporadically, and did pretty much what we're seeing today. And then it went quiet for 800 years, and then it now seems, since 2021, we've begun a sort of new volcanic era.
The land of fire and ice is an endless display of nature's awesome power. This time, what's playing out makes for an astounding but awful sight. Jessica Parker, BBC News.
Gosh, astounding but awful sight. Well, true words there, Jessica Parker. Now, Tira Schubert is a journalist, joins us now from the Icelandic capital, Reykjavik. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you just take us through... Hi, Tira. Could you just take us through the very latest?
The very latest is that the live feed, and they're excellent at live feeds of volcanoes here, looks like it hasn't increased. The flow of lava hasn't increased. Volcanoes are notoriously difficult to predict, and last night I was speaking to the head of seismic hazards, and he said that although lava had not increased, it's impossible to predict this, but the eruptions on the ground seem to have stabilized, which is a good sign. But nevertheless, we've lost a number of houses on the outskirts of Grindavik, a very pretty little fishing village.
That is grim.
3,000
very sad.
People.
And Tira, that village was at the centre of concerns, wasn't it, a few weeks ago, and seemed to escape back then. So they thought they'd
got lucky, but this time also not.
Well, this is a very volcanic island, and in fact, last night I was able to speak to the Prime Minister, and the eruptions, the earthquakes that had been building up, made them decide on Saturday to request an evacuation this morning. But because all of a sudden two fissures unexpectedly opened yesterday on Sunday, they had to evacuate the remaining people. There was only about 90 houses that had to be evacuated. Most people left after the eruption that began on the 18th of December.
Wow, I've got those video footage on the right. Isn't it beautiful?
Personal items out of their houses.
Scary, but beautiful.
They are lost entirely. It's just unclear how much of the village will be covered with lava.
And Tira, thankfully, no one that we're aware of has been injured.
Nobody was injured in the evacuation. This is an island that is absolutely brilliant at dealing with natural disasters. They've had them throughout the years.
Of course they have.
Icelanders are fantastically tough, and they understand their science of the environment
Volcanoes.
that they live in. But on Wednesday, somebody was reported missing, presumed dead.
Oh, crikey.
He was working to place some of the infrastructure and deal with the crevasses that had opened. He appears to have fallen into a crevasse, and the search was called off.
Oh, crikey.
Saturday.
That's sad.
That has been the one injury and
Wow.
presumed fatality.
Oh, dear.
Tira, thank you so much for that update.
It's dangerous, hot stuff, lava, so you can never play around with it, guys. Always remember that.
Ilianskaya, good morning.
Good morning.
You're from
Ooh.
Iceland. You've gone home to Iceland.
Wow.
Christmas, that's when we spoke to you. But you're also a volcano expert. At the
Oh,
University of
volcano
Leeds, so you're the
volcanic
perfect
expert.
person for us to talk
Wow. Here we go, guys. Do you know more
to.
than
What do you
me?
make of the latest pictures you've seen? Is this more significant than it was before Christmas when you were there?
In some ways it is, because it's the first time since the volcano was reawakened in the last 4 years that lava has threatened and actually destroyed homes. Scientifically, it's not unexpected and was actually predicted and forecast and forewarned. But personally, emotionally, for somebody who grew up in this part of Iceland, it's very difficult to believe. It's very difficult to watch, and I can't begin to imagine what the people who actually live there are going through. Some of the interviews that I've seen, people are very stoic, very calm, but everybody's just saying they're feeling numb, that they're feeling like they haven't begun
Wow.
to process what's starting to happen. And it must be a reality of living in Iceland, growing up in Iceland. Something like this is possible. But just look at, those pictures, it's astonishing. And it's astonishing that people live in such close proximity to fissures like this. Yes, but this part of Iceland hasn't had eruptions in 800 years. So this is the first time in many, many generations that we feel like we are threatened by volcanoes in this very densely populated part of Iceland, where 70% of the population lives. Even though eruptions in Iceland happen every 3 or 4 years on average, they tend to be in quite remote parts of Iceland where people are not as directly threatened.
That's lucky.
And this is just kind of unprecedented events. Last time that lava threatened a town was exactly 50 years ago in 1973. And this part of Iceland hasn't experienced it since 13th century or so.
Blimey.
So how long did this go on for? Not necessarily this specific incident, but the kind of ongoing rumblings afterwards.
So I think all the scientists who work with this now agree that we are entering what is called new Reykjanes fires. And this is an episode of very frequent eruptions. So we're talking about every few months or maybe once a year or so. But this could continue for several decades or potentially several centuries.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like this. So
Crikey.
it's something that is going to be very difficult for everybody to get their head around.
Oh God.
Over Christmas,
Unstable
I was at a
land to live on.
party, and I told somebody this who lives there, and they started hysterically laughing, even though I thought everybody already knew this. But
That is beautiful, isn't it, guys?
It's a shock to people. It's a shock to me
Absolutely
as a
stunning.
volcanologist, because
Wow.
800 years is it's a time period you don't really think that it could happen to you, but then now it is happening, and we just don't know how long it's going to continue. So in a sense, those people are never going to be going back to those houses if your scientists' predictions are correct. Well, the eruptions during these episodes, they do shift location. So it doesn't mean that for the next 200 years we will have eruptions exactly in the same location. But there are a lot of villages, a lot of towns in this part of Iceland that have been impacted by lava, all those centuries ago. So it is a scenario we have to unfortunately consider that towns will continue to be threatened.
Fascinating as you find it as a scientist, it must be hard for you personally, emotionally, having friends back there, family back there, and seeing these pictures.
It's very strange. Like I say, as a scientist, it's unprecedented opportunity. As somebody who lives there, who knows some of the people there, it's just unbelievable.
But even scientifically, and maybe philosophically, it's a bit strange because
Yeah.
I tend to have gone to eruptions which have a very definite beginning and a very definite end. And you go there, you do your field work, you have a drink with colleagues, you go back home and you write up the results, and you sort of feel like
Fascinating.
that's done.
Wow.
It's finished and it's achieved. And now, because we're going into potentially decades or centuries,
Oh my God.
I feel like I'll never see the end of it. I'll never know how it ends, so to speak. So it's a very strange feeling to be experiencing right now.
Jamie, thank you for coming in and talking to us and explaining that to us. I'm sure we'll speak to you again.
There you go, guys. There you go.
Please do come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Now it's 7:24 here on Breakfast. Terrible story this. Having a
I
beloved
hope you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel, Icelandic Gems, and the force be with you always. This is my friend Shane every Friday, live from the Surrey Hills Race Show, Shane of the Years race station at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this is my friend Sparky and Jimbo on ITF Friday thing every Friday afternoon, 3 to 5 p.m. on the Surrey Hills Race Show. And listen to my friend John and Laura show every Sunday at 9 to 12 p.m. live on the Viking radio station show. I hope you like it. Please subscribe to my channel, Icelandic Gems. Bye.